Hey boys, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host Tim. We are on audio right now because Gugabe, you're in Malaysia right now.
Yep. My current setup is a little bit primitive, but it's all good to be here. Are we, Tim?
Your setup's always primitive, I feel like, and it sounds like you're always like talking in an elevator or something. But that's kind of like a hallmark of the show.
Personal brand.
So all the audience just has to deal with the terrible production quality.
It's more when I go onto the Magic and Gombas podcast and I make them deal with it. That's what really brings me joy. Especially like I turn down the bit rates. I just make sure everything's as scratchy as possible. Then I go and greet my good amigo Magic.
When I'm talking, maybe like go on mute a little bit because I can hear my echo. But we got a card UFC 310. We won't recap anything. So this is the last pay-per-view of the year. Then I think there's a Tampa card. Let's just start with the top. Pantoja and Asakura. Asakura fought, in some Asian promotions and everything. What do you think overall here? Like, what do you think of the main event? Do you think the line is about correct? What do you think overall? And what do you think of Asakura as a prospect?
Asakura's fun. I don't think he's a top 10 UFC flyweight, but Pantoja has an issue where he's kind of in the Glover Teixeira phase of his career where he just gets absolutely fucking nuked by everybody. So Asakura could definitely run him over. Plus the price seems okay to me. Like again, if I had to bet something, it'd probably be Pantoja or Pantoja sub. But I don't think Asakura is going to have a particularly distinguished UFC career, but also, like, if you just told me Asakura ran out and flying knee him immediately, it's like, all right, that's not like, that just seems like a reasonable outcome. I think price is fine. Like, I'll probably err more the Pantoja side if I had to pick something, but should be a fun fight.
Is there a lot of defensive grappling footage of Asakura? Because I feel like when I went through his last 5 or 6 fights, and I was not finding a ton. If anyone can point to some fights where there's more, I was going to research a little more, because the price seems pretty steady. So I was looking at other stuff, but I didn't see a ton. And I feel like that's kind of what I need to know, but it's tough at this. I know Pantoja can just die, but the thing is he's never been finished. So it's I know he's been hurt, but he's never been finished. And the thing about him is his last 3 fights, he's landed 6, 8, and 9 takedowns, and he just fights through fatigue well. And that's just a hard skill set to beat if you're not finishing him, And sure, Asakura could do it. He seems to hit very hard. But if he doesn't, I'm assuming he can't stop that type of grappling. I still haven't seen enough of his defensive wrestling in his most recent fights, but even if it's very good, Moreno's is pretty fucking good, his defensive grappling, and even he got taken out 6 times, got his back taken. So I'm guessing Pantoja will get that going against Asakura as well. So that's kind of how I see it. But have you seen his defensive grappling at all, Gugabe? I'm going to look a little more. If anyone in the chat has, I was going to take a look, but I feel like he's just been striking with guys, or he's been fighting shitty wrestlers,
Olga Kubo wrestled him the second time, I'm pretty sure. They had Verizon end of the year thing, and Olga Kubo beat him. And Olga Kubo's not bad. He never made the UFC, but Olga Kubo was just a nice little paced, tenacious flyweight wrestler. He slowed down a bit now. He's not getting knocked out, but he's solid for what he is. I think if there's value in anybody, it's probably Pantoja. Asakura being the same price as Erceg seems dumb, because I think Erceg's a lot better. But also Asakura just seems more explosive and probably more chances hitting the home run, and somebody's eventually going to hit the home run on Pantoja.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Holloway thing. You can tell they both have insane durability, but they've been getting hit or hurt a little too much, and it's eventually that button's going to get pressed,
And also, a lot of Pantoja's wrestling these days just feels this guy's if somebody actually committed to really shutting him down and just not scrambling at all and just saying no, there's no grappling happening here. I feel like Erceg or Moreno would have beaten them. But it was kind of a thing where both of those guys were good enough grapplers. They just kind of extend scrambles where they probably shouldn't have, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like
I
there
mean,
was just
especially Ursig. Like I remember, I was it round 5 where like he literally like it's like I think he went for his own shot, and then he just like gave away the round.
yeah, and I feel like maybe Asakura will just be more like intelligent and just say, I'm just not going to grapple with this guy at all. I feel like Moreno and even like Royval, right? Royval had some spots where he was kind of doing a bit okay, but he would just inevitably like try and grapple him. I think like maybe since Asakura is like such a specialist, he might just say, fuck this, I'm just going to not grapple with you, which I think could be a big issue for Pantoja at this point in his career.
Yeah,
But
that could help
yeah,
him. It's just I don't know if he's a good enough defensive wrestler to have that option either, because I just haven't seen it enough.
yeah, I think it'll be a fun fight. I'm just I think under makes sense from a binary point of view, but it's flyweight, so I'm not rushing for it. But yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. I guess I've had a bet something with Pantoja, but like I just don't really want to do big juice business with modern Pantoja.
Yeah. It seems like a reasonable line, like the UFC level champion who has some really good wins lately, with a lot of takedowns, like a reliable skill set, but against still a proven fighter in Asakura, but like still different competition.
I'm kind of personally, I'm more rooting for like Asakura to either get the upset, at which point he'll be like evens against Moreno or something, which would be like, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah.
Or like Asakura puts up like a okay performance and then is like evens or medium favorite against KKF or something. Like that's what I actually want to bet. Like this fight itself, I don't really care.
Yeah. Let's move to the co-main event. Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Garry. I'll kick this one off. Interesting fight in the sense like it's tough because like I've seen a lot of people kind of like, talk about how Garry is a path to victory. And like, yeah, it is like feasible that he could like strike at range, point fight, and have some success. But it's like that's assuming he also shuts every other aspect of Shavkat's game down, like the pressure clinching, the pressure wrestling, the top game. And I don't even know if he'll stop that. But then even if they struck a distance, it's like I'm not sure Garry's even better than Shavkat there, Like he might be a little more like technical in some certain areas, but Shavkat fucking just hits so hard and is such a freak. Like even when he fought Jeff Neal, I think he outperformed Garry at range, like he outlanded Neal at distance 74-57, and then I think Neal and Garry were pretty close. I'll take a look. But then in the clinch, Rakhmonov, that's where he like really thrives in close quarters, like 39-12 in the clinch Rakhmonov did against Neal. I'm looking at the numbers where like Garry had against Neal. It was 65-38. Garry could have some success at range, but it's not like he's like way better there either. Like I don't even know if he's better. And then that's assuming he also shuts down every other game of Rakhmonov, and Rakhmonov seems more durable, hits harder. Like I think the line's fine. I could feasibly see like Garry having some moments of success, like keeping it at range, landing some shots. Like he's got a decent game, like a good game from range striking. But again, he may not even be better there than other areas of the game. Shavkat's so fucking lethal. What do you think?
I pretty much got the same take. Again, like gut feel for me was like Garry and goes the distance, but like I feel like Garry will be into like evens after 2 rounds, and then just like because it would just be 2 rounds of absolutely nothing happening, just fucking awful outside striking, and then like Shavkat will hit some stupid foot sweep, or like he'll just hit like some really impractical stupid clinch throw or something, and just eat Garry, or just he'll either finish the fight then, or he'll just like put like a 10-8 on him on the bottom. Yeah, it just seems like a stupid fight to me. Like, I don't like how Shavkat can just not do much in space sometimes. But again, like the Jeff Neal fight does exist, and that was like one of the Jeff Neal fight's like top like 10 performance in UFC history from like durability and output, in my opinion, in context. But like, it's just one of these things where like one day like Shavkat will just never do that again. And just like the whole time, you're just like, well, what the fuck was that? Yeah, I'm kind of tempted the over, but I just think the over is just going to come down to when like Shavkat finally hits a takedown. I don't really like how Shavkat's like I think Shavkat has an incredible top game, but I feel like his actual takedowns are just kind of weird and just designed differently. So it's just like it's not like he's going to just come out and shoot like 50 double legs and get one of them down. It will just be like 10 minutes of nothing happening in space, and then like Shavkat will just hit some fucking crazy judo shit out of nowhere, and that'll be the fight. I just I just have this gut feel that like Garry will be like Gary's price will come in, and then he'll just die, and it'll be like, was that value or not?
Shavkat is like a really like because like his top game is amazing, and it's weird because his takedowns aren't good, but they're he like basically but his pressure is insane. Like, and he's so physical, like it'll clinch you up, and they may not result in takedowns, but he's still like kind of wearing you down, you know, like in that clinch, and he'll look for those like stupid foot sweeps, and like even against Wonder Boy, he couldn't take him down for a while, but eventually like that physicality just kind of wore on Wonder Boy, and that's the thing about Shavkat. Like, it doesn't look his takedowns aren't all that good for like a bit. And I mean, Neil shut him down. So like people can shut him down. I don't think his takedowns are all that great, but he's smothering, you know, Gugabe. Like he's such a physical freak that he kind of makes that pressure work. If he had like a legitimate takedown game, he would be so tough to beat because he would just get to that top game every time, you know. But
also
it's
like
weird because Garry, I feel like I haven't seen a ton of his like defensive grappling. Like, it looks competent, but it's against guys who aren't that good. And if he gets actually grounded, he could get like murked here, but I don't know that for sure. But it's just like all these potential other ways for Rakhmonov to win, like close quarter clinching, top game. Garry doesn't have that. You know, like Garry basically has to win with distance striking, and I don't know if he's for sure better there. I do think he can have success there though. But it's like Rakhmonov has all these other hypothetical paths to victory, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much my take. Where like I could see a version of this fight where just there's like 25 minutes of just nothing happening outside tedium. But it's like even if that happens, you're probably getting like a coin flip, like just a close decision kind of thing. And it just feels like every time like Shavkat like completes a takedown, he just gains like 30% more win equity. Because that will probably be a close. That'll probably be like a clear round, and there's a good chance that's a finish kind of thing. It's just, Shavkat, like I think he's good. It's just this game. I just don't like how his game is designed in certain ways. Like it's just like there's just so much as built. It's like sort of mid-career John Jones at this point. Like that's probably like the only comparison I can think of when like John Jones's knees went and he stopped like doing actual takedowns. But like anytime he ever actually got on top of somebody, he just annihilated them.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a fun fighter. Like, but he's a goofy fighter. But like he's also like elite, you know. But he's got some like weird things going on. But his physicality is absolutely insane. But all right. Gane and Volkov. I think Gane should win again. I don't think there's any value on the line anymore. I think if you got in on it early, you probably did your job. But like Gane's just a little it's a fight where like I feel like it's always going to be like pretty competitive, you know. But Gane's just like a little better, hits a little harder, little better to the head as well. Like I feel like in the first fight, Volkov only kind of really took round one off like leg kicks, where Gane was kind of gauging his distance. And I think because it's a 3-round fight, that's the best hope for Volkov is like. Gane sometimes builds, and if he builds in this fight, it could just like be cutting the margins kind of thin. But if Gane also starts fast, I think he'll just kind of win 2 or 3 rounds fine, you know, and be all right. But I'm expecting like a somewhat competitive decision where Gane wins like 30-27, 29-28 type of thing, where that's about it. What do you think?
I mean, gut feel is probably see a repeat of the first fight where it was just like close but clear. Because like, yeah, if you look at the stats for the first fight, it wasn't like Gane like completely shit on him. Like, yeah, Gane was definitely better. But like, there was only one round where he really separated.
But he also did outland him in head strikes every round, and it was 60-40. So if you like look at the numbers, they were like closer. But a lot of it was like Volkov landing little like kicks to the legs and stuff that weren't. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Like head strikes just matter in fights like this, and Gane's he outlands he's never been outlanded in the head or in significant strikes. So like I have to take that consistency, you know. But if you're landing more head strikes, you're also likely just landing more eye-popping shots and have a higher chance to hurt someone. So that's why I think he's okay. But like I do agree. Like I think Volkov can like compete with like on the numbers with just like his kicks and stuff. It's just he didn't land anything like great either though in that whole fight, you know? Like I can't even remember like more than a couple punches he landed to Gane's actual head that had like any meaning, where Gane kind of did that almost every other round, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what there was Gane did outland, but like there's 3 rounds where it was like 1 strike margins. I don't know. For me, I think Gane probably wins. I think the under's like a little bit interesting just because like it's high tempo heavyweight. These guys do both hit. Like, yeah, I'm not saying it's like an inevitability kind of a thing, but anytime you can put like I'm expecting like 100 heavyweight head strikes between the two. I feel like the under is just like, yeah, if you give me plus 250 on YouTube 1.5 for 100 heavyweight head strikes, at some point people do go down. I don't know, just kind of a weird one. And also, I think like Volkov has like all the grappling upside. Not really necessarily push it or get there, but just if Volkov did somehow end up on top, it could be a big thing. For me, I just feel like Volkov will pass at this pricing.
Yeah, I think at this pricing, it's fine to just kind of like, you know, I don't see any point in Gane anymore. I think if you got on it early around like the minus 230 range or something, that's fine.
For me, I just kind of look at like knock Gane decisions what interests me. I just feel like there's a chance they could both finish, and like Volkov's a bit underpriced. Just like plus 120 for knock Gane decision, I think is interesting, personally.
Mitchell and Gracie, like Gracie, I don't. He's just like old and not really a fighter anymore. It is funny though, because it's like Mitchell generally wins by grappling, and it's not like you can take Gracie down and just like easily dominate him, you know. But it's like Gracie looked really bad against Jordan and stuff. I don't know. Mitchell's just a more youthful fighter at this point, but this is a funny fight. What do you think?
If this was the Gracie who fought Cub Swanson, I'd probably be on him. But like that last fight was just depressing. Yeah. It just looked totally the same. Like, even like Jordan was sitting in his guard fine, and Jordan is not a great grappler.
Yeah.
That's I think the price is a little bit wide because like Mitchell's not really a guy who camps guard. He tends to advance a lot, kind of a thing, which I think could create a situation where he keeps giving Gracie like opportunities to create scrambles. But also like how flat he looked against Jordan, it's hard to be interested. I don't know. I feel like if this was Gracie who fought Swanson, I would definitely be interested here because that guy actually had the sort of passion. You know, he was competing hard, and like I think if Gracie like actually was like trustworthy to just push a pace and do things, I would be like, I can't see how Mitchell covers minus 900. But that Jordan fight was just such a sort of shit look. I think it's not like Mitchell's going to play back foot striking and make it difficult for Gracie. Like, Mitchell's never been hard to fight.
Yeah. It's funny because like the guy like Gracie against like Caceres, he's still like a dangerous submission grappler. Against Swanson, he's just not a good striker, but he still like competed on toughness. Like he wasn't as good as Swanson, but Mitchell isn't Swanson. That was Swanson in 2019 too, and like that fight, like those two first fights weren't that bad of performances. It's like he couldn't get Swanson down, so he had to strike against 2019 Cub Swanson, and he's like a BJJ guy. Of course he's gonna lose, but he's still like. That was like a zombie fight. Like he still like had moments, but I mean he wasn't as good. And then Jordan looked really bad though, and I feel like he's probably just showing up for a paycheck at this point. I know that's a little narrative based, but I don't know how serious he's taking this. And Jordan just kind of sitting in his guard was also a thing where I'm like, well, Mitchell probably could just do something like that too if he felt like it, but. Yeah, like Mitchell's got a better process of winning rounds here, so I think he's a rightful favorite, but I'm not interested in minus 1,000 either,
Yeah, that seems a bit much. Like, because I had a max bet on Swanson back in the day against Gracie, and like, Gracie fucking hung in there and he kept trying, and like, some people had him pulling back the third round off pure tenacity. And if it was that Gracie, I would 100% play him here because like I can't really see how Bryce like would even cover against. That Gracie, because like that Gracie would just not take no for an answer and just keep walking him down kind of thing. But like this Gracie just seemed happy to just Jordan's not a great grappler and did fine. Pass to me.
Yeah. Nate Landwehr and Korean Superboy do Ho Choi. What do you think here? This is like a banger of a fight. Like this is a great fight to open the pay-per-view as well.
Fun fight. I think Landwehr should probably be a bit bigger of a favourite. I just think he just kind of mixes the martials better than Choi does generally. Yeah, good on Choi for finally slaying Algio. Like, I've bet a lot about Bill Algio unders in my life, so it was nice to finally fucking hit one. But yeah, I think there's people, maybe the market's running with that a bit much because like Algio's always going to eventually run out of health bars. I'd think Landwehr would be great. He mixes martials better. He has more tools. He's busier. Choi's kind of one note. I think eventually Landwehr just kind of steamrolls him. I took him to under 2.5 at minus 125 one place just because I think they should sort of smash into each other. But yeah, I think I'd make Landwehr a little bit bigger favourite personally, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that doesn't go the distance. Even at like minus 190, I think is like decent. It's like these guys, they have 16 UFC fights, 12 of them have ended inside the distance, and then like I think 3 of those fights knockdowns happened, you know, and then one was like Nelson and Choi, where Nelson just kind of panic wrestled, you know. So yeah. It's like almost, you know, 12 of 16 times finishes have happened, 3 fights with knockdowns, and then when you look at them, how they match up, it's even like more violent because both of them get hurt all the time, and then they're both like super dangerous. So yeah, like I don't think this one's going to the cards. But I agree. Like I think Landwehr should probably be a bigger favorite. There's still a ton of variance in here, and I think Choi could knock him dead. You know, like Landwehr's been knocked out by Herbert Burns, so you can't be confident that he's like gonna win any fight. But Landwehr's got some really sneaky good wins, like Emmers, Klein, Onama. Like, yeah, like he kind of just seems to break guys and they can't handle it after a few minutes. Even Ige, like, remember Ige? Like, I know he lost a fight, but Ige was wilting in round 3 bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like Choi, I feel like it's like basically this. I think they both could kill each other early. And I know Choi doesn't gas like all that bad. I've heard some people say that, like how he's not first 5 minutes or bust. But I also think like he could gas here because a lot of these other guys don't like wilt either, but they wilted against Landwehr, you know? So I think Landwehr just has like an ability to really just push a pace and make guys kind of just drown. So I think because he has, I think over 15 minutes, I trust Landwehr a little more. And I think he has more of an ability to kind of drown Choi. And I think his quality of competition is way better. Like Choi's only win I know he had big breaks, but his only win in the last like 5 or 6 fights or whatever was really against Algio, and he lost the first round, you know? And Algio closed minus 250 in that fight, and now it's almost even. So like I lean a little more Landwehr as well, but there is a lot of variance. Like either guy could fully kill each other. So I almost like feel like playing the doesn't go and then a little bit of Landwehr because I just feel like that's a little insurance if Choi knocks him out, you know? And I kind of just expect Landwehr to finish him anyways. So that's kind of the way I see it. But it's a good fight. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty much agree with you. Yeah, I also think with Choi, it's not so much he gets tired. It's just he doesn't really have a plan B.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, he just hits very hard and very straight. And as he starts slowing down a bit, he just goes from being able to like instantly bonk people to just being a bit slower and it stops working kind of a thing. Like, you know, once you figure them out, you figure them out.
Yeah, he's got a lot of power in the pocket, but I think I don't even like he gets hurt a lot though. Like I just feel like Landwehr like will eventually get to him, and he better just knock out Landwehr before that happens. But it's a really fun fight though. Like I still could see either guy killing each other. Any fights there's a lot of good fights on the prelims. Anyone you want to talk about? I've got some takes here, but.
Luque versus Garimbo was hilarious. Like, just a truly silly fight. I'm kind of surprised like Garimbo ITD is such a big price when like to me, I assume the Luque like dog case has to like run through like Garimbo Luque just being done after that Buckley fight.
Like done.
Yeah, like just should not be sanctioned. Like yeah, because that Buckley just quit to half guard's gym. Like that Buckley KO was just like what the fuck.
That he just fight, there was like like I know people are going to be like, well, Aspinall's amazing, blah blah blah, but that fight to me of Luque Buckley kind of reminds me of Volkov Aspinall, where Volkov just like died, and like I'm like, yeah, I know Aspinall could have still beat him, but Volkov is better than that. Like, I mean, anyone who even anyone who loves Aspinall can still say like that was a very strange sequence, you know.
He got straight armbarred.
I remember I wanted to play Volkov as a dog against Romanov, but because of that sequence, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, it just happened. And that's kind of reminding me here. It's like, I kind of want to play Luque, but seeing that Buckley sequence makes me be like, I don't know if I even want to deal with this, you know? That's kind of
personally,
because like Garimbo's not that good. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't even think he's good. But
I mean, Garimbo is weird to me. Where like I don't think he's good, but also like the kind of physicality and cage pushing he's doing now could actually get him some decent wins against people. Just because
it can, but it's gonna run out eventually. And Luque could be shot enough to where it can work. But if this was prime Luque, he would fucking murder this guy.
Would he? However good was Luque? Like again, like Luque just kind of had a bunch of. Like, I love Luque. He's had a bunch of very fun fights. We just particularly against grapplers, he's always kind of had a bunch of coin flips. I don't know. I think the under here interests me because I'm just like, all right, if Luque is showing up in the thing, the under is live because like Luque is a very good finisher and Garimbo is a fucking mess. So I'll take that. And also, if Garimbo is actually favourite here. Like, to me, I've got to put some sort of percentage on Luque is just done. And, like, the under also looks good if Luque is just done. So I personally think the under at plus 150 is not a bad spot. And also Garimbo ITD. I see it as an upside thing because I feel like, if Garimbo justifies his money line, it probably means – because, like, Luque is weird to me because I was big on RDA and RDA ITD. And then, like, Luque just randomly whips out this grappling performance out of his ass. Like that was like one of the truly like most bizarre. Like remember like the whole narrative around that was like Luque's corner has been told to die in the ring if he takes 10 head strikes or something. They're ready to throw the towel at any moment. And then he just like debuts Luque grappling once. Like just that's a single time he's ever grappled in RDA. Like RDA is a better grappler than Garimbo, surely. But like I do not know how to like calibrate Luque at this point. Like, if Luque from the RDA fight just out-grappled Garimbo, I don't think that's impossible.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's all a guess on Luque's form. Because it's like, if I hadn't seen the Buckley fight, I think I kind of know what I'm getting. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't trust Garimbo. Like, I just don't think he's very good. Like, I don't think playing minus 150 against Luque is a good idea. I think it's dog or pass, but there's sketchiness on both sides, man. I do agree with some of your takes on the under though, but what do you think of Aljo Evloev?
I don't know, Evloev by a somewhat unconvincing but clear 29-28 as always. Like I think the pricing is insulting for Aljo. I think like Evloev has shown some issues with like defensive jiu-jitsu, but also I just feel like Evloev just kind of hustles him. I just feel like Evloev just turns into another one of his 29-28s. Just gut feel.
I think Aljo is gonna dominate him. Like personally, I think this line's very off, and I'll be on Aljo. I won't say okay. Maybe dominate's a strong word, but like I was watching Evloev's like defensive grappling, man. Barzola, like he's only had 3 guys attempt takedown. Like this is coming from a man. Like my biggest bet of the year a few years ago was Evloev versus Grundy. You remember that? It was like
Grundy subbed him and Evloev got up by pure magic. Like, Grundy minus 1,000.
I like Evloev. Like I like his game, but this line is bananas in my opinion. And Aljo's lost like whatever you want to say about the Jan DQ, but like. He's lost 1 fight in like 7 years, and he's won, I think, 91% of his rounds. And I think like out of the like 6 rounds he's lost, most of them came in rounds 4 and 5, and it was like against Jan and shit. Like in 3-round fights, he's one of the best round winners in the sport. Evloev drops plenty of rounds, and like he like he's like 29-28 against a lot of guys, and what's he going to do to Aljo? Like, honestly, like, I don't think he's going to take and hold Aljo down. The only few grapplers he has fought are Barzola, who he attempted 11 takedowns on and got like 2 minutes of control, couldn't keep him down. Who was it? Lentz isn't a good wrestler. He's just a guillotine jumper. And Barzola has no top game, by the way. And then Grundy, that fight went exactly as I bet it. Like, Grundy could land takedowns, but he couldn't hold Evloev down because he doesn't know how to do anything unless if he could just lay in someone's guard. Grundy, he's just not a folk style wrestler. Aljo, like Evloev, if you watch him versus Barzola, the end of round 2, he got taken down in leg lays. He gives up his back to get up. I think Aljo can get him down and stick in body triangles, like, fine. Peter Yan's a better defensive wrestler than Evloev. And people like listening might disagree with me, but just go. Those are the only 3 fights he's had takedowns attempted on him: Lentz, Grundy, and Barzola, and they're nothing compared to Aljo. They're not even close. And I think the takedowns can land for Aljo. I think he can get his back. And then I don't think Evloev can do anything. Like, could he land takedowns on Aljo? I think so, but I don't think he can do anything with him, like, at all. And then on the feet, he's a boxer. Like, he uses his like boxing or whatnot, Evloev, but I think Aljo will just kick him from the outside. Aljo's an underrated, just volume distance striker. He took a striking round off of O'Malley in the first few rounds against Jan, and both of them, he was taking some striking rounds, you know? I don't understand the line at all. And if you just watch the end of round 2 versus Barzola, like, watching that sequence, that's a classic Aljo takedown too. Like, what he was doing to Cejudo, push you against the cage, trap you, go to the double. And I don't know, Aljo's he's always underrated. I played him huge against Cater. He dominated. The only fight I haven't played him in the last like 10 fights was O'Malley, because he was minus 270 and O'Malley just caught him, you know? I don't understand this line at all. And I think I picked Aljo straight, and I think he should be favored personally. I think the only way Evloev like wins clean is if Aljo just like is coming in for a paycheck, but that's just not what Aljo does, you know? Do you like agree with anything I say? I just don't understand like what people are watching on tape when they watch this fight.
I mean, I do kind of agree with you, but I still think Evloev's going to win a stupid split decision. I just have the strong gut feel that Evloev is going to continue his run of somewhat underwhelming 29-28. I just feel this.
The thing is, I also think Aljo is more likely to win inside the distance here. Evloev's never landed a knockdown in the UFC. He can't sub Aljo, and then he's in deep subs all the time. We might see him get his back taken for the first time, and the 3 times guys took him down, they don't know how to, like, Barzola doesn't know how to take a back. Grundy doesn't know how to take a back. Lentz just knows how to jump guillotine. He had a mounted guillotine on this guy. Like, Aljo can get in that front headlock position, take the back, and I really think him subbing him wouldn't shock me either. I'm not picking that to happen, but I honestly think he's more likely to win inside the distance. And then this fight's like minus 300 or something to go to the cards, which I do think it will probably go to the cards, but I just don't see like how you could cap Evloev minus 250. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I think people are just doing it for the hype spot. Like, yeah. I agree, because Aljo is generally underrated. I just have a very strong biblical conviction that Evloev will win an underwhelming 29-28 because it's just how Evloev operates.
Yeah, that's fair. I love Evloev, dude. Like, I've played him many times, but this is his toughest fight for sure. Stylistically, it's not even close, and it's the best guy he's fought. And I know people love to hate Aljo because of kind of the Jan stuff, but Jan is a really, really, really good defensive. I have so much respect for his defensive wrestling and his wrestling overall. And, you know, I know fight 2 was kind of weird, and I would pick Jan to beat Aljo, you know, like if they fought again. But Jan is so hard to control, and Aljo still 2 of the first 3 rounds, he got a back take. And I don't I think it's harder to do that to Jan than it would to Evloev. Like, watch Evloev's fights. The back takes are there. And I really, really think that could happen here. And I don't think Evloev's a better striker than Jan either. And Aljo was competing in the striking early. Eventually, Jan kind of took over, against Aljo in the striking later in the fight and stuff. But in 3 rounds, I think Aljo is just tough to deal with. And I think this line's really, really off. And I think this is going to be really, really... I think it's either going to be like a close Evloev win or just a close fight in general. Or I really think if someone just wins clean, I think it's going to be Aljo, honestly. So we will see what happens. This would be really, really funny. I will admit with Magic there. Gets his first finish in the UFC, flying knee versus Aljo. But that's my main event, by the way, Evloev and Sterling. But I am on Sterling there, and I think it's a galaxy line. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, some fun fights. I like Chiesa against Griffin. I just think Ghost of Brazilian Cowboy was getting Griffin down and getting his back, and I just feel kind of an old man fight, but I do kind of I do think you should take the grappling old man against the non-grappling old man generally. But no, it should be a shit show. Yeah, most of this card's pretty fun fights.
Yeah, it's a very, very fun card. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to just seeing Rakhmonov fight again. I enjoy watching him fight. I love Pantoja. He's kind of my boy, so that'll be cool too. But are there any other plays you have or anything you want to discuss, or do you want to call it quits?
I like the Weidman versus Anders under. I just feel like the Weidman chin takes have kind of gone in the complete circle. Because 2 years ago, Weidman was the most fragile man to ever live, and if you breathed them, you would just KO him. And now the under was plus 190. And these guys should just kind of meet in the middle and smack. I think if Weidman gets top time and Anders, he could finish because he has a very good top game. I think if Anders and Weidman just kind of don't grapple and just end up striking, it's just going to be a high tempo middleweight, so slugfest kind of thing. That under to me just seems crazy because it's both are kind of a bit fragile these days. Big enough that random KOs happen, and just I can't really see a safe place in that fight apart from Anders getting on top. And I'd be surprised if Anders got on top.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's everything. I think the last card's at UFC Tampa card, so we'll talk about that. We can do that next week. But it's been a good year. Wait, what are you in Malaysia for again? Did you say?
Just moving here for a bit. My girlfriend's from here, so just easier for childcare and all that sort of stuff, to be honest.
I had no idea.
More family.
I had no idea your girlfriend was from there, but all right. Well, safe travels. I guess you're staying there permanently though. But
yeah.
I will talk to you next week, and yeah, I'll chat with you during the card. This should be a really, really fun one. Top to bottom, it's one of the better cards we've had in a while, I think. Just usually we have some prelims that just suck, but these are actually good. So all right, thanks Gugabe. Thanks for everyone for jumping in. And we will talk to you later.
Catch you, mate. Thank you for listening. Bye.